Hey everyone, and welcome to Holding the Line with Got Your Six Counseling. I'm Peggy, and this is Brittany. This is a space where we get real about the shit nobody wants to talk about: mental health, life, trauma, healing, and everything in between. Sometimes we get clinical, sometimes we get messy, but it's always honest. Quick reminder, this podcast isn't therapy, and it's not a substitute for professional care. We're not here to provide therapy, diagnose, or treat. If you're struggling with mental health, please reach out to a licensed provider. You don't have to go through it alone. We've got your six. We're just two trauma therapists showing up as humans first, ready to have real, unfiltered conversations about the stuff that matters. We're here to break the stigma, share what we've learned from both sides of the therapy room, and talk about the challenges people face every day, especially in the veteran and first responder communities. Whether it's trauma, burnout, relationships, identity, or just getting through the week, we believe that these conversations matter. They deserve space, and that's what we're holding the line for. So let's dive in.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Holding the Line with Got Your Six. Today is episode 8. Your anxiety is a lying hoe.
Because anxiety is really going to look at you just dead in the face and tell you, everybody hates you.
You're a failure.
You're getting fired. Your friend is mad. You're dying. That text with a period at the end means everything's over. Nobody wants to talk to you. Like, just, it's the end.
Multiple periods, or my personal favorite, the thumbs up.
Or just K.
Oh my gosh. Yes, that's how I know. I'm like, what's the matter with you? Why are you just saying K?
And the worst part of it, it says all of this with confidence of like a hostage negotiator with absolutely no evidence.
So today we're talking about what anxiety actually is, how it affects your nervous system, why trauma makes it worse, how it lasts to us and other people, and how to stop treating it like it's legally binding, because it's not.
We are not here to diagnose you. This is just information. I want to get that absolutely 100% clear. So, what is anxiety? So, clinically, anxiety is like a future-oriented fear response. It involves excessive worry, nervous system activation, and anticipation of potential threat. Anxiety itself is not a bad thing.
No.
In fact, it's part of survival. Like, it tells you, like, hey, you need to worry about this, but, like, some of us take it a step further.
Spiraling out, spinning out.
But, like, the nervous system is designed to detect danger, assess risk, and to, like, keep the humans alive.
It is literally your survival mechanism, the fight or flight, and whether you stay in it or not is dependent upon the human, but it does keep us alive and aware of threats around us. But for some, I feel like it spins out so much further than that. Also, there are somatic symptoms along with it too, like the I'm going to throw up or I'm going to pass out.
Yeah, because you're in the anticipation, right? Because, like, this email, either waiting on it or sending it, I'm nauseous now. Awkward conversations, unanswered texts, like you're sitting there just ruminating on it. Social situations just make you uncomfortable. Physical sensations.
Mm-hmm.
And then just minor inconveniences throw off your whole day.
Unless, like, you have a panic attack and you wake up and can't feel certain parts of your body, see or hear, that's a problem. That's a bigger issue. We're not talking about that here.
But for those, like, with anxiety, everything feels like an incoming attack.
Yes. Well, you're already under attack.
But there's a difference because, like, there's anxiety and then there's stress, and these two will get mixed up. So stress is a typical response to external demand. And that's like deadlines and finances and parenting and work pressure and moving and emergencies. But, like, so let's not get the two mixed up because, like, external, internal.
Well, stress is like, I don't want to say that anxiety is not real, but, like, you're stressed about stuff that's like real shit going on around you. And anxiety, like, will continue even when like the stressor is absent, or you don't know why you feel the way you do, right? Like the what if, oh my God, the what if, the worry, the hypervigilance, which is, there's a fine line, but still we're going to get into that later. And then like anticipation of it. But you can have both at the same time. Stress says there's a lot happening. And anxiety is like, and now we're all going to die. I mean, to laugh, but like,
yeah, because you can't stop it. That reaction from coming, it feels unnatural, and it is unnatural.
Mm-hmm. When it comes out of nowhere, you're like, yeah, I'm doing the thing. It's so great. And all of a sudden you're like, why do I feel this way? What is happening with me internally?
Hmm. Because it doesn't stop that day. It goes into the next day and into the next week. Anxiety doesn't know necessarily how to turn off.
Less living in survival mode.
Mm-hmm. And it's your nervous system. And the anxiety activates that sympathetic nervous system and the body's fight or flight. And living in it.
Yeah, you're
just constantly.
Your anxiety, what is the vagus nerve, right? That's why some people are like, hey, we need to talk when you get home. And it's like, absolutely not. You will tell me right now or I'll die. That's the anticipation. But then all of a sudden you're running back and forth to the bathroom. That's because your vagus nerve has now activated your gut. Or you're having heart palpitations. It's hit that too.
Sweating and you're nauseous and it's muscle tension or dizziness or shaking. Or like those with anxiety, like they'll get chest tightness. And you're like, am I having a heart attack? I'm too young for a heart attack right now.
Yes. I can't tell you how many people we carried to the hospital for the very short period of time I was on the ambulance that were just having panic attacks that really thought they were having a heart attack or something where it's like, that's how real it feels. Your body doesn't, I don't want to say it doesn't know the difference, but you don't know the difference because you're not used to it. So you're freaking out thinking you're going to die. And you really just, which makes it worse,
But it's not an uncommon thing how many get to the hospital for the heart attack-like symptoms when it is just a panic attack because it feels crushing.
And then, of course, you're like, I'm dying. And your anxiety is like, you died yesterday.
And it's unfortunate because like, you're like, oh my God, I'm dying. And the anxiety goes, yep, you are.
Yep.
You are.
And if you are one of those people that get like lost in your physical symptoms and then you start hyper focusing on them, do yourself a favor and stay off Beyonce's internet because WebMD will tell you died yesterday or or you have some sort of uncurable disease that you most likely do not have because you're spiraling out of control over something going on with your stomach or your leg.
It's one of the funniest memes I'd ever seen. It's like, this ponytail is either like my headache is either A, cancer, B,
my ponytail's too tight. I need caffeine or sleep. Yeah.
And like, you'll go down like the rabbit hole of the like, is it my ponytail? Do I have a brain tumor or am I just dehydrated? And it's like, nope, it's cancer. It's cancer. I'm dying.
Out of all the obvious
I'm already
answers,
planning my...
right? Like, I'm probably dehydrated or I need to eat something. You're like, it's definitely a brain tumor. WebMD said that it was that or meningitis. Because if your neck hurts too, you have meningitis. We are not diagnosing medical conditions, please. Go see your regular doctor. You can joke about this now.
Yeah, please don't diagnose yourself.
But that is because anxiety loves to like worst case scenario things. Every time I get a message or email from Christina and she's like, can we talk? And I'm like, whatever it was, I didn't do it. It's like an immediate response. Like, I'm going to the principal's office and she's like, I was just going to ask you about A, B, C, D. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's fine. Why do you always think you're in trouble? I don't know.
Or like, Josh just goes quiet and I'm like, are you mad at me? Do you want to divorce me? Is everything okay? And he's like, there's literally just nothing going on up here.
Also, I would love to know what that feels like to have nothing running along up in here. You know what I mean? Like, When I'm like, what are you thinking about? And they're like, nothing. I'm like, how do you think of nothing? Like nothing's in your head, not a single thought. No.
That'd be nice. I think sometimes to be like, and I know it's not all dudes, but to be some dudes to like just have that to go quiet mode of like it just shuts down, or because I go to sleep in like 5 minutes and I'm like,
I'll be having a full-on conversation with the men in my house. And next thing I know, I hear, I'm like, oh my God, for real?
have to run through the scenarios of the day. Did I say the right thing? Did I not say the right thing? And catastrophize over that first. I can go to sleep.
And then once you're finished with that, your brain's like, remember that embarrassing thing you did when you were 12? You're like, oh, Carrie, I'm not going to sleep tonight.
Because that's what catastrophizing does. I made one mistake today and it is going to ruin my entire career, my entire life. How dare I? I know I said something stupid. I don't know how many times like I'll sit there and be like, I need to go put myself in therapist timeout because I said something bad.
Or not even bad, because she's not even thinking about it. No one else is thinking about it but us. Like that one-off weird thing we say in therapy, and we're like, why did I say that? I was in therapist timeout.
And, like you want then you want to like go and like over apologize or over explain yourself the next time, and they're like, dude,
I haven't even thought about that.
Not that.
I mean, I have a few that would definitely think about it, but the majority are like, what are you talking about? I don't remember that. Okay, well, good. Now that we're on the same page.
Anxiety rarely deals in moderation or nuance or even emotional stability, and I know that.
It deals in fake emergencies, unsupported conspiracy theories,
Dramatic conclusions. Because like if I don't know if you do, because like I'll play out the scenarios and like I know this is like a dissociation of some sorts of acting it out. I thought I acted it out.
What do you mean you have to act it out?
I will play out both sides of the conversation.
Uh-huh.
If I can play it out, it is the best thing ever, because if I can do both sides, I can see a nuance.
But what happens if it doesn't go the way you've rehearsed it in your head?
Then, and this is where, like, I know the cognitive distortions. I love explaining cognitive distortions to people because, like, look, we're therapists. We do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
If we're the biggest, we're the horrible. We're horrible at this.
Well, it's like
we know
therapists make the worst therapy patients, and doctors and nurses make the worst patients everywhere else.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because we know what they are. It doesn't mean like we're rational in the moment, just as you're not rational in the moment either.
Yeah.
You know, because we go over cognitive distortions, and anxiety absolutely loves all of these. Mind reading is the best one.
Yes.
Assuming you know what others think. They definitely think I'm stupid. And this is why that they think I'm stupid, because I did this and they think I'm so socially awkward, or like I don't know what to say. So I need to practice and rehearse what I say in advance.
How many people have asked you, is it normal that I do that? And I'm like, not at all. No. The fortune telling and black and white thinking, I think, are the two. Like, I have a couple that are like, well, things are going great, but I just know that this is absolutely going to go to shit. And I'm like, but how do you know? I just know it always happens. And I'm like, give me an example. Well, I can't.
The allisms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or the shoulds. Everything should be a certain way. Like if it doesn't go this way, well then I'm crap and they're crap, and like it like, totally I go into like forky thinking.
Oh, and I'm real quick to be like, you know, like when you said at the beginning, the mind reading, like they definitely think I'm stupid, or my spouse hates me. I'm a terrible friend. Okay, is that like your fact or is it an opinion? Right? Like, is that your opinion? Did someone look at you and be like, you're a shitty friend? No. Then how do you know? You don't. Your anxiety is lying hoe. Is lying to you.
And then the hard one is emotional reasoning.
Mm-hmm.
believing feelings equal facts, because like your feelings will lie to you all the time. Like a lot of people are just still just learning their feelings too.
Some people,
'Cause,
yeah, some
like,
people were never taught, or it was never safe to express feelings or emotions. And so
Mhm.
they can't trust what they're actually feeling, because how could they?
Yep. It's like that constant, I feel unsafe, therefore I must be unsafe. And we see that especially in the populations we work with.
Oh, yes. Everything. There is a potential to be unsafe in every situation that they're in, even though it's not exactly realistic. And you can't challenge that away. Not for a long time. Well, this is just how it goes. Is it though?
I really would love to participate in, like, I'm not saying it's waterboarding per se, but like I would love to get a squirt bottle and just be like, no. Every cognitive distortion that pops up, no.
I have football penalty flags that I used to throw them around a lot. And I think they got put away somewhere. I need to find them again. But every time they would say something, I'd be like, "Phoom." I'd just like toss it across the room. Or,
Flag on the play.
you're bullshit. That's what that's for. The first time I ever did it, my patient was like, was that a football flag? Penalty flag? I was like, it is. It is.
Yes.
But it's because
Yes, it
of your
is.
thought process. And the
You're not
literal red
hitting them
flag.
with something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's like you're not, throwing a stress ball at their head, even though I feel like that would be an appropriate processing too.
You also get like the no button, like the staples. That was easy.
Probably. I'd be like, nope, not doing that again. And then it's just how trauma and anxiety work together, because these two are best buddies.
People say, oh, I have a history of anxiety, when really what they have is, PTSD. But I feel like, I don't want to say run-of-the-mill anxiety and PTSD anxiety are two totally different things. They don't feel quite the same. Although you can have both at the same time, which makes things real fun. Like your panic attacks or your run-of-the-mill just like internal feeling of anxiety versus like the hypervigilance with our head on a swivel and like being easily startled and all that stuff. Those are still fall under anxiety, but they feel so different and paralyzing depending on which one you're actually feeling,
Because trauma changes like the nervous system. People with trauma histories often felt heightened threat detection. And so their brain just learns danger can happen unexpectedly. So like regular anxiety and then like PTSD. Oh no. So like that hypervigilance is just intensified tenfold.
Right.
They're constantly scanning for threats, difficulty relaxing, over analyzing everything. That exaggerated startle response is even more chronic tension. I mean, for trauma survivors, that anxiety is often not irrational. It's protective survival learning that just became overgeneralized.
Yes. Yes. And trust what? And it left me, like I say. I was looking at the overanalyzing social interactions, but that circles back to like also feeling unsafe and what Peggy said. I play both sides of the conversation. Not so much because she thinks it's going to go her way or not, but so she's prepared otherwise. I think that's a lot of the reason why veterans and people that we work with avoid social interactions, generally speaking. If they can avoid it, they're avoiding it. Because A, they don't have the energy to deal with people. B, they're afraid that what they're going to say is going to come off weird, or they're going to be judged for feeling as anxious as they do. So that was kind of where I was headed. I think the real thought's going to come back to me in a minute, like it always does.
And that's fine. Yeah. And when your nervous system never like takes a moment to like just catch its breath, that hypervigilance is just a persistent sensory and emotional overload.
Mm-hmm. My favorite form of this is, I'm such an empath. I can feel other people's emotions and what they're going through. I'm like, actually, you just were traumatized. And reading the room has kept you safe. You're scanning the environment. So you know whether you need to walk on eggshells or not. That's probably the most common thing that I hear about this sort of thing, right? We're like, oh, I need to learn how to determine if it's my emotions or somebody else's. And it's such a hard like bridge for a lot of people to cross because they've been doing it their whole life.
Yeah, because like it's different. You can have empathy and then going beyond.
Do I think there are some people out there who can do things like that? Maybe, probably. But the people that step foot in our office are not those people.
That's a legitimate medical disorder when you can like feel somebody's feelings or like their pain and stuff like that. That is a diagnosable thing right there.
Or maybe, but the people that we come in contact with are not actually any of those. They're just reading the room because they've been doing it their whole life and they've been in survival mode for as long as.
Yeah, because they're over monitoring people's moods. They're scanning that environment. They're trouble trusting calm situations.
Like once the aha moment came for me with my, like, they come in, well, me too, right? Like if my people come in and they're okay, I'm like, why are you here? Where's the chaos? They're like, I don't know what I would do without the chaos because the chaos feels safe because that's what they're used to. And so if things calm down and things are looking up, they're like, it's all going to go to shit really soon. But how do you know? It always does. Well, maybe this time it won't. No, it will. I have a feeling.
Your body can't like heal properly with constantly bracing for disaster.
Yeah. Whatever's going to happen, bro. Somebody made a comment about like nuclear war and bombs and stuff. I was like, listen, I don't want to know until the day of.
So somebody,
don't send me an alert. Just let it happen.
Oh,
Okay.
no. So somebody sent me, it was a map of all of the sites. And I was like, why would you do that?
Absolutely not. No, I don't want to know.
Just today.
Or any day. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And I can't stop it. So, you know.
Anxiety in your health. Oh, because chronic anxiety impacts the body. And we know like all of these things impact the body.
Yes.
Whether it's trauma, anxiety, depression, like the whole gambit. Long-term nervous system activation contributes to all of the things, whether it is sleep, headaches, digestive issues, fatigue, muscle pain, lowered concentration, increased inflammation. You got a chronic illness? Oh, guess what? We probably got something else going on.
And if you have anxiety already with all of these medical, physical issues, and then you're under a great deal of stress, guess what? You're going to die. I'm just kidding. You're not going to die. But it definitely feels like you're going to die. It's an autoimmune disorder. Guess what? You're in a flare.
Because the brain and body are not separate systems.
No.
Like all my autoimmune people out there, like unite. Which diagnosis do you have?
It's my gold star. But they do impact each other, right? Like the way you feel mentally affects you physically. And if you feel like shit physically, you will also feel like shit mentally. Even if you're not aware of it, of why or how you got there.
Because then we start analyzing that part because it's like, okay, I'm in a flare this week. What can't I get done? And then we start spiraling on that.
Well, because we're used to pushing so hard and working at such a high level of functioning that when things go south and we can't, it makes it even worse. Then we get stuck in this awful, horrible cycle.
Girl, let's talk panic attacks. The world's rudest surprise party guest.
Sitting in the corner of the room, just waiting. Just waiting. I think so. If you've never experienced a panic attack, you're lucky. If you have, then you know. If you know, you know. Because usually you have no idea what brought it on. I would say some people know certain things that might trigger them to have a panic attack, but for the most part, it's like hard and fast, sudden, and you're like, oh crap. There really isn't. Okay, I don't want to say that. But you can have so there's a lot of different symptoms of a panic attack. but they're not, I don't say they're mutually exclusive. And then some are actually not counted for, but we won't get into that. So like your heart racing, feeling like you can't breathe, feeling numb, dizzy. I personally get like this wave of heat that like starts up here and it rushes down my whole body. And then I'm like, I could shoot fire from my fingertips. That's how hot my body feels. And that's when like, that's just step one. After that, it all goes downhill. Everybody's different in terms of like what they experience or not. Some people like throw up, they get sick at their stomach. I don't know if I've ever met anybody that's passed out before, but it's extreme for everybody in a different way. Most important thing is that you feel like you're dying and you're totally afraid, but you don't know why, which makes it even more fun. Like, guess the fear that brought this on today.
And they come out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes there is an activation or a trigger or something like that. And sometimes there is nothing. You know, it just sneaks up on you. And it's knowing what to do. This is why the therapy part of this is important. So you can learn how to cope with it.
Yes.
Because people go for so long with just kind of like working their way through it.
And this is where we were talking earlier about how people believe they're having a real medical emergency. And I would so much rather people be safe than sorry. If you're having those symptoms and you think, oh crap, maybe just go, right? Like it'd be better to know that you are just having a panic attack and don't let the anxiety lie to you and be like, well, they're going to make fun of you. They're going to say that you're being dramatic. Chest pain is chest pain. And a lot of things can cause chest pain, most of which a heart attack. So let's go get that checked out first.
Yeah.
You don't feel like crap if you think, oh my God, I'm having a medical emergency. But once you have one and you know, then you have the insight of it. Like, okay, let me take some breaths or let me step outside.
I'm going to call this out for a minute because like I hate functioning labels. Hate them with a passion because here's the thing with a functioning label. It's how everybody else experiencing it. Like when we say like high functioning and stuff like that, it means the outside world doesn't experience someone else's issues to a certain extent. Like high functioning anxiety. No real thing like that, but it just means like the person with anxiety, you're not experiencing their difficulties.
Right.
Because like a lot of people with anxiety up here find internally, they are absolutely a mess because they are successful and productive and organized and dependable. Meanwhile, internally, they're operating on caffeine and panic and overachievement and approximately 3 molecules apiece.
Who gets 3 molecules apiece? Because I feel like I barely have one. Who's getting 3? That's unfair. Anxiety drives that, right? You hate the functioning label, but our anxiety is driving us to be successful and productive and dependable despite the fact we are falling apart. Because if we fall apart, what does that say?
Yep.
We failed.
But like these things get so much praise when you have anxiety and you are functioning at maximum capacity. We can't tell. So because it doesn't affect us and only you, cool, we're good with it.
Right. Like because some people's anxiety manifests in like the way that we've described so far, but some people are just really frustrated and irritable, which is weird for someone who's experienced both. I'm like, I'm not anxious. I'm just pissed off. Oh, never mind. You're right. Right. Like it can manifest in a lot of different ways.
Your eyes shut down.
Yep. Depends.
I go pretty silent. I'm like, okay, I'm done with everybody.
I start detaching. I don't want to talk to anybody. I will if I have to, but I don't choose to. My phone is elsewhere.
Yeah, because like overachievers and like the ones that just push through it, it's hard. Because again, anxiety can look like most disorders can look like a spectrum.
Yeah. That's fair.
Most disorders look like a spectrum. And I've always been a big believer of that because there's too much of it, because you're not fitting every single portion of criteria either.
No. And some affect your functioning more than others too, which is literally the definition of a spectrum in terms of diagnosing, right? Like that's why we have the different specifiers for certain disorders in terms of like major, moderate, severe, whatever. It is a spectrum. We're just not calling it that.
Especially so like when we're dealing with anxiety and we're the performer, you're exhausted, you're emotionally overwhelmed, you're unable to rest, you're terrified of failure. Because if I stop, I'm going to feel it all.
Yeah.
Because then it might affect others. And then again, how is that going to make me feel? How is that going to affect my output, input, all of the things?
Right. And how people view me right now, because now I'm not functioning like I was and people are seeing it or they're noticing. So what does that say about me? Circling back. So like I'm a failure. I'm trash.
Being Porky. Porky's wife is going to be better at this.
No, I think she's just this Porky.
And then we got our first responder community and veterans and anxiety. And like, look, anxiety has become normalized in these high stress professions. You know, first responders and veterans adapt because like chronic hyperarousal, adrenaline dependence,
Yeah.
operational readiness, and like sleep disruption and like threat scanning. It's part of the job.
And I think a lot of that, they're obviously designed to keep them alive in these high stress, like potentially super dangerous situations. But at some point, there's a line that's crossed from the person and their job where something really bad happens, really traumatic. You know, maybe they lose someone. Now every day is a fight to go to work and do the thing. Because now we're stuck in this like survival cycle of, well, I know that was the other day, and realistically, how often will that happen? But now my body's in fear of it happening all the time. Every time I go to work, every time. You're living in this awful anxiety, what am I trying to say? Heightened anxiety state that's borderline hypervigilance. And
It's like, I think especially for the first responders, because like they felt anxious even in objectively safe environments. Because they forgot how to stop monitoring for danger.
like when I rearrange my office and my patients are like, I'm further away from the door. I'm like, you're okay. I promise. The door will.
Can I scoot my chair over to like leave my couch alone?
Don't touch it, okay? No one's getting in that door unless they're me. The whole building could come down around us, but we're safe in here.
Like, we're fine. It's okay. And they're like, we are not fine. We are not okay.
And then too, they're giving away that level of dysfunction, which also is super unsafe for them too. So I remember working at the hospital, the psych hospital. I loved it at first. It was great. It was an adrenaline rush until it wasn't. And I would be physically sick every day before I had to go to work. I'm like, I loved the job and the people that I worked with and the kids that were there, but like my body was like, absolutely not. Because we had like a week of nonstop codes. People were fighting, people were getting hurt. And so my body's like, well, we have to be ready for this every day we go in. So that I feel that. It's true. You don't sleep. You're always on, your head is always on a swivel when you're there. And before you go, you got these somatic symptoms. Oh, my stomach hurts. My head hurts. I'm feeling very sick all of a sudden.
Anxiety affects your relationships. Heavily. Oh my goodness. It's like you're overanalyzing how you talk to each other. You're asking for reassurance. Like, do you love me? I love this one. Like, would you love me if I was a worm?
Would you love me if I didn't have any legs? Or if I was a moth or a fly, like.
And they're looking at you stupid, like, why?
You know, it's always women asking their husbands that question because they're just like, why are you asking? Also, why does it have to be a worm, you know? But I feel like in this one, we're dipping our toes a little bit into attachment stuff. So like we have to walk a fine line because I'm going to get too much into it. But all this is anxiety driven. And if you have an anxious attachment style, it's even worse, right? Like, you promise you love me. You promise you'll never leave me. Would you love me still if I was a worm? Like, would you keep me a little aquarium? Give me a life.
It's like anxiety in the brain just tells you, like, I need reassurance. I just need that connection to tell me, like, you are going to communicate with me. And if you stop communicating with me, that means something's wrong.
Right. I've done something wrong. You don't love me anymore and you're ready to like peace out.
Mhm. Because anxiety constantly is telling you, what if they leave?
Right. What if they're lying?
Mhm.
What if they're not where they say they are? What if they're not telling the truth about A, B, C, and D? So like I think that circles back to some of the cognitive distortions that Peggy was talking about too, and also being able to stop that shit in its tracks. Like, I know where my mind is going with this, and I'm not going to let you because I am not trying to spiral today. I don't have time for a mental breakdown today.
We also have avoidance and anxiety.
The coping skill that never was, that never should be.
Yes, because avoidance, we use it because like it temporarily makes it go away.
It's easier. It's easier to focus on this or that or this other topic or Peggy's drama over my own, right? I see that a lot in session, and I know that the rest of us do too. They're in here talking about their cousin's sister's mother's friend who had their baby taken away by CPS because it was born addicted to drugs.
Relate to you.
Right. And they're like, well, I'm angry about it. Okay, that's valid. And also help me understand how we got there, because I feel like you're just trying to avoid what's actually going on with you right now. So let's circle back to that.
Yeah.
I'm also the queen of avoidance as well.
Yeah, because we will avoid crowds, avoid calls, avoid vulnerability.
Yes.
Anything to stay away from anxiety. But like anxiety's still going to find a way back to us.
Creeping into the attachment realm too of avoidance, right? Like that impacts your relationships in this very dysfunctionally anxious way, like even worse than the one we were talking about before. And the avoidance makes it so much worse when you actually do have to sit with it, because you've been avoiding things for so long. Nah, it's fine. Just keep pushing through. I'm gonna keep pushing through. I'm gonna keep pushing through. And the moment you sit down with one of us, or we finally like tip the scale over and there's like this huge emotional release, it's like, see what happens when you sit with it? What happens when you confront it and figure out a way through it, instead of just being like, it's my dirty little secret I'm keeping in my disappointment room, you know?
Yeah. So we have to find practical ways to actually challenge our anxiety. You know, our feelings are not facts. You know, anxiety can feel real without it being accurate.
Yes, it's not true, which is why we ask for evidence. What actual evidence exists? Like, this is not just your opinion or your internal feeling or your anxiety lying to you. Like, this is you having an actual conversation with someone and being like, you are a piece of shit. Or, yeah, you are in danger. There isn't any of that because it's all up here.
Or stop future tripping. And I have to like tell myself, and even like my son, like, stop borrowing tomorrow's troubles.
Every time somebody says that, I think of that comedian years ago that was like, I'm depressed, I'm sad about the past, I'm anxious, I'm worried about the future. And it's so true. It's so true. And I'm not making fun in any way, but this is the easiest way to say it. People who are anxious live in the future. Live in today. You know, whatever's going to happen tomorrow is going to happen tomorrow. I can't control it. I can't deal with it. And a lot of it isn't control too, which we didn't really touch on, but it is really a control thing.
Regulate the nervous system. Oh my goodness. And I know this is easier said than done, but like sleep, hydration, movement, breathing, all the things. Like, we have to like find your peace, find your calm, whatever that is.
I think over time people figure out the thing, right? Like, once they have the insight that this is happening, this is how they are, like, I know I have to get out of whatever building I'm in or my house and get outside, right? I just need fresh air. I need to see the sun or whatever. I think that finding that thing for you, which leads us into our next one, which is like naming the pattern, like, this is just my anxiety coming through right now, right? Or I know I'm projecting that onto people, or I'm overstimulated or overwhelmed, so I'm snippy. I just need y'all to give me a minute, you know?
And then, like, I also know, like, anxiety usually doesn't live on its own most of the time. This always has buddies.
We're never alone in the mentally spicy world. If you got one, you probably have another.
I always described it to Lucas because he has the 3 A's, as we call it, like autism,
Anxiety,
and
ADHD.
ADHD. You know, and I always had to like tell him like it was like he has the vehicle and like one of them takes turns driving.
Uh-huh.
And it's typically autism driving. It is usually his ADHD or anxiety. And like autism is the worst backseat driver.
So I feel like anxiety would be the backseat driver.
No, because anxiety or ADHD takes turns. Autism's like,
We're here along for the ride. How can we make it worse?
because like he'll either do stupid stuff, which is contributed with the ADHD, or like he's hyper-focused worrying with this anxiety. And like, tell that one that it's his day off.
I do love comparing like your anxious thoughts to spam email or phone calls, because I get about 50 a day. You don't have to take that like at face value or even believe it to be true. You're like, this is just my anxiety talking. This is not real. It takes a long time to get there, but it's spam. Just filter it out. Tell it to fuck off and go away somewhere else.
Anxiety isn't weakness.
It's our nervous system trying. Sometimes they do the most, or it does the most to keep us safe. So they're not automatically true, ever. I say ever.
But anxiety is protective. It's informative.
Oh, sorry, I'm just... So anxiety is a lying hoe and a fake mustache creating imaginary disasters that do...
So I do know that.
It's even funnier for me to envision a woman presenting anxiety with a fake mustache on. That was much funnier than the guy. But that's when all the bad stuff goes back up. It's like, what about that thing you did? Or that way you said that? Or you didn't do enough today or whatever. No, you did enough today. It's all a lie. And the moment that you're able to identify it as such, things become a lot simpler.
And we're not saying like it took this long for it to happen. It takes that long to fix it too.
You didn't get like this.
Like everybody wants like instant results, instantaneous fixes. That is not realistic either. And especially with things like anxiety.
Right. Not to be confused with like obsessive compulsive disorders or other things that feel similar. Those are still anxiety to some degree, but they are much less and more something else. We'll have to talk about that one in a different one, because some people assume that OCD is like a anxiety related disorder. It's not. It's totally separate category now. Now that there's not some anxiety that exists there, or like, oh, my intuition says, okay, if your intuition has saved your life many times, then maybe you should keep trusting that. That's probably not anxiety. That's a very different feeling. But if you're questioning whether or not it is real or it's not, and you know where to find us. You know where to find a therapist. I want to say it's easy. It is one of the easier ones to deal with over time, I imagine. I don't feel anxious anymore. I just want to scream, you know?
Yep.
But thank you for listening, guys.
Like, share, and follow.
We want to thank you for tuning into this episode of Holding the Line with Got Your Six, where we are just a bunch of therapists who talk about the shit nobody wants to talk about. We hope you got something useful out of it. Stay tuned for more of our upcoming episodes every other week posted to our YouTube channel, Holding the Line GYS. If you want to help support our podcast, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share this video with others you think may get something useful out of it. Make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, where we will post useful information, dark humor, and more of the shit nobody wants to talk about. Go forth and do magical shit, everyone.
Yeah, so we have a lot of trauma talk with the docs coming out soon. And then my therapy unpacked will be back online at some point. But thank you for listening for our valued, repeated listeners. Thank you for coming back and listening from the beginning. We look forward to handing you some new ones here in the future.
No, see, anxiety is very valid, especially when it comes to.
Would we consider like the borderline belly anxiety as well? That's definitely.
Yeah.
No.
Because, like, we'll be getting, or we'll shut down, or somebody will email us, and we're like,
And then the avoidance kicks in, and you're like, well, I can do all these other things too. It's fine. All while you're avoiding the stuff you actually should be doing, which for me is part ADHD, part anxiety.
That's why I was like, you got the 2 A's, and I'm like, this
Yeah.
one is not doing what she's supposed to be doing. I was like, here, let me go bug her into that. Or when I just stop responding, you're like, you
Mhm.
mad?
I always say I can feel the disturbance in the force. I say that to Christina a lot, or whoever, and I'm like, "Are you unwell? Why? Why do you say that?" I'm like, "I don't know. There's just a disturbance in the force." But that's me picking up on their emotion instead of just letting it be
You'll ne-
theirs.
Because I'll just start ruminating like heck. And I'm like, I can't get it to stop.
I literally have to stop whatever I'm doing and do something completely different. If I can't get it out of my head, I literally have to
Okay.
what we call like thought stop it. I have to just move on to something else and just end it there, because otherwise I'll sit with it and it for a miserable amount of time. No, thank you.
I just go to the meds because I'm like, here, I need this to stop. Then I'm okay.
And there's nothing wrong with having meds to take for anxiety either. I think that's something I want to get into with Sabina when we do our pod with her. Is just, if you have it, take it. Why
Absolutely.
not take it? Why would you suffer? To the men listening to this, stop being hard ass and just take the medicine. It's okay. Doesn't make you weak. And nobody even has to know about it.
Nice.